So let me start with asking you about origin of ONDC, the purpose, the vision, and what has been achieved till now.
Sure. So, India as a country has its own unique set of problems, right? The problems of diversity, problem of scale, problem of availability, literacy, problem of evolution on the digital landscape. And I think the architects of DPI recognized and appreciated the problem and then figured out a way to, build digital public infrastructures to enable, the small, downtrodden, underprivileged section of the society. So there were many DPGs and DPIs. UPI is a classic example. ONDC. So everything was there from authentication to payment. There was a stack available. I think the stack that was missing was commerce, right? So ONDC was thought of, as a concept and as a DPI that will solve for providing the underprivileged section of the society an ability to be digitally visible, digitally discoverable, and be able to exchange values in terms of economic resources and product resources or consumable resources. So I think ONDC was created with a vision to create a democratized e-commerce market ecosystem without having to build a large platform, right? And this has been made enabled through driving standards, writing protocols that enable two distinct and diverse platforms to talk to each other in common language. So that is what ONDC's purpose is all about.
So, what has been the major success of ONDC like till now? Where the impact has been already created, and how it is actually impacting the lives of the common man.
So, ever since its inception, ONDC's focus area has been on tier 4, tier 3 cities, right? And we have a lot of, small time MSMEs, a lot of NGOs and self-help groups like Mandeshi Foundation is a classic example, who are actually being able to be visible on the network and are able to sell their produces to the network constituents. I think the impact is now coming from more tier 3, tier 4 because the next wave of growth for e-commerce will only come from the smaller cities, right? And the smaller farmers. We are also working with the agri ecosystem of India to make sure that the downtrodden and underprivileged farmers are able to not only produce good quality crops and good quality produces, but are also able to sell it at good prices. I think the impact of ONDC will come with enabling some of these small players in the economy to contribute with the larger impact, and also it will help the economy in a way of controlling the inflation, making sure everybody has equal access to the resources and has equitable claim to the natural resources which is available. It's starting to come. We are still at a distance, but I'm definitely seeing the green shoots coming out, creating this kind of an impact in the ecosystem.
And which are the like top five sectors which have adopted ONDC ecosystem already, and which are the next 5 or 10 which you are working on?
Sure. I think we started off with the food and grocery as a segment. So, making sure food deliveries are the first on the block, grocery, and looking at a generic e-commerce, and then of course it is followed with the B2C as a domain across multiple segments, electronics, BPC, and things like that. The other sector which we have recently been able to successfully implement is in the agri sector. We started with denotified commodities, but with the ENAM getting integrated into ONDC, you will soon see the notified commodities also being sold on the network. Besides these, mobility, the ride-hailing is another big use case. Unlike a large platform-led model to a network-led model, is another success story that we have. We have travel as a domain also going live. I think in the near future, we are looking the major impact going to come from healthcare, from credit and finance as a domain, from services as a domain is also going live. These are some growth engines for ONDC to scale further. So that is what is going to happen in the next maybe 1 year or so.
And as someone was asking in the conference, and people are still confused, ONDC is a platform which is like trying to dismantle other platforms, and so there is a lot of like confusion in the ecosystem. So if you like have to explain in a ONDC in a very simple words, so that people are able to actually understand how it is going to help them and how it is not competing with any platform. So how do you do that?
It's a very good question, Raviji, and I keep getting asked this question everywhere where I go. I think a very closest comparison that I draw to ONDC is what happened to the email ecosystem, right? If you look at the email evolution, it was a simple message exchange mechanism, which was not in the email as a keyword, didn't even was not even coined in early 90s, right? It got coined only in late 80s, early 90s. Um, in the erstwhile systems, some large organizations used to have an email service for internal communications, right? But then there was a need felt that, if somebody else has to have, unless you create an email inbox in that particular system, you're not able to communicate with them. That is where there was a need felt where a messaging ecosystem can actually sort of scale to handle, large section of email services which is available globally. And with, Hotmail and all these things coming in, every single individual across the globe started having an email address. It's a very similar concept in this. What enabled email ecosystem was SMTP protocol, which is simple mail transfer protocol. There's nothing but standard specifications with standard ports and standard technical integration. Similarly, ONDC has also, sort of defined certain APIs which are standardized so that a buyer can raise their intent of wanting to buy something or wanting to consume something, and seller is able to interpret in a standard way. And seller is able to offer that product in a standard, grammar that the buyer can actually understand. But then there is no need of the buyer and the seller to be available on the same platform. Just like email, you may have a Hotmail address, I may have a Gmail address, but we are still able to communicate. This is what ONDC is all about. You could be on Paytm, I could be sitting on a restaurant as a seller. Let's say I have YouEngage as a seller. I will still be able to provide services and products to you, despite you not having any direct engagement with YouEngage as a platform. So this is the journey from platform to a network that we are trying to establish.
Fantastic. And you just want to mention healthcare as a top priority, important point. So if you can elaborate about that.
I mean, healthcare as a service is going live on the network. You have all your blood tests. You can book your blood test for a phlebo to come to your home and then do the test. That is going to become available on the network, and you don't have to have multiple apps on you. You can actually choose a blood test sitting on a single app like Paytm, and you can want blood tests to be done by Healthians, but you actually can do X-rays and other things from Lal Path Labs, right? Both of these things are possible on a single app. You don't really have to be on multiple apps to be able to exercise your option for a particular test. That is what is going live on ONDC at this. But the healthcare is a very wide domain, right? From tests to life improvement or lifestyle improvement services. Everything is going to become available on the network through healthcare services domain.
And I wish to ask about this ONDC for education also, because you were just mentioning and people are really curious about that.
Yeah, Honest is a network which is it was incubated in Xstep, but ONDC has adopted the same implementation, is now expanding that landscape. The education, skilling, training, scholarships is a big problem to solve for our country. I think by creating an open ecosystem for somebody to looking for a mentor to get mentored on a specific subject, from somebody to looking at videos, somebody looking for an admission in a particular college, somebody looking for an admission into an online course with verified credentials. Honest is an answer for that, right? You can actually explore. You want to do a course in data science. Today, you go on one particular platform called Unacademy, or you go to Udemy, and then you explore the options. How about you being able to be on one particular platform and be able to explore everything that is available out there, right? And being able to choose from, you may like a particular data science course which is there in Unacademy, but you want to basically do a course of statistics where a better course is available on Udemy. You can actually do both of those things together, where your certificates are basically stored as verified credentials, right? And verified credentials is something where the one who has trained you, tutored you, who has also, examined you, is able to give a verified credentials which is stored in an immutable way in a blockchain based network, wherein you can actually then apply for a job by simply providing this VCs, which your job provider can actually sort of verify. I think this is what is happening in education space. Scholarships is another classic example. There is huge amount of money that is available, in form of scholarships for underprivileged. I think that pool also is getting tapped as we proceed, all under a single network called Honest.
And the last question is there a model like ONDC available elsewhere, anywhere in the world?
I think ONDC is one of its kind initiative. ONDC is now going places. While the government has given us a charter to develop ONDC in India, but Beacon is going places. We have Gambia Open Network, which has gone live in Gambia. We are in active conversations with Singapore. So Singapore is establishing an export rail with India on ONDC. I think it is going places. I definitely see ONDC expanding beyond the borders of India. But this is what gives me, pride in saying this is something which is totally conceptualized, born, and incubated in India, and it is now ready for the world. So that is how I like to see. I definitely see this concept is taking wings and then going across borders. You will soon start seeing implementation of ONDC like networks, especially in African continent, in South American continent, Eastern Europe, which are developing economies and are on the verge of next scale of or next wave of their development.
It's like UPI, right?
Of course.
Yeah, but my question was different. I was asking that something like ONDC already exists anywhere in any part of the world, like in US or Europe or anywhere.
I think some smaller networks, some vague concepts do accept, but are they global standards? The answer is no. And as I said, ONDC has been incubated in India and it is one of its kind. There is no parallel to ONDC anywhere in the world. So, and that's why I'm saying you will start seeing, ONDC and ONDC like networks which are interoperable coming up very soon.
Fantastic. Excellent meeting you and listening to. Thank you so much.